Hello and welcome back to Chasing the Target. So that is done. The WTC has finished. India versus Australia. Australia are champions of the world. They have won the WTC Mace, and yeah, I thought we'll just do a quick review and then look forward to the Ashes. Next few days we'll have a lot of Ashes content coming up. Hopefully, Faiz will probably join me in the next couple of days as well. But yeah, I was at the WTC. It was a great experience. 5 days of Test cricket in the sun. You can see I'm tanned as well. Really enjoyed it, but the result was very disappointing. As an Indian fan, as someone who grew up watching the Indian team, that's not the result you wanted. And it's time and again. This is the third tournament that I've watched in the last 1 year live at the stadium where India have not been able to cross the final hurdle. They lost the Asia Cup. They got knocked out early there. The T20 World Cup, they got knocked out early there, and now the final, they got knocked out against Australia. Plenty to ponder about, plenty to talk about. अब discussions तो बहुत रहने वाले हैं भाई. क्या गलत हुआ, क्या करना है, अश्विन को क्यों नहीं खिलाया, ये नहीं करा. But it all starts at one thing. I think the main thing that you have to look at first is the off the field preparation. When you're playing 2 months of IPL, you're traveling in day out, different cities. You're playing cricket constantly. You don't get that adequate rest, and you're playing in different conditions which are in India. Then suddenly you have to come to England. You have to play in a different format, a different ball, different conditions. So the preparation was not sorted. I know it's a very simple explanation and a lot of people are talking about it, but it is what it is. That is the truth. You see how Australia prepared. Their fast bowlers got adequate rest. They pulled out of the IPL. Yes, Hazelwood played a bit, but then he got injured, and the rest, Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, Boland, were all fresh and ready to go. Marnus and Smith both were batting in the county championship. They were acclimatized to the situations. They understood how to score runs in England. And yes, despite Pujara also doing that, for Australia it was just more effective. They looked more of a unit. India, relying on individual brilliance, and those big players also not stepping up to the plate. Chirag Bhai Singh, are you planning to go for India versus Pakistan in Ahmedabad? Why not? Let's plan it. I think I don't know. It's still far away, but I think let's try and go. It'll be very difficult, but why not? Let's try and plan to go for that India Pakistan. Chirag Bhai, I don't think I should say no right now. I should say yes, and let's see what happens if we go. If we get the ticket or if we get arrangements done, then we'll go definitely. If not, we still should go to Ahmedabad and report for you guys. I think, right? So, inshallah, I will say yes. So hopefully, we'll plan. Let's see what happens. Let the proper schedule come out, and then we can decide exactly. But yeah, and I think Pakistan have a couple games in Hyderabad as well, so that will be a bit easier for Faz to cover. India, I don't think are playing in Hyderabad, but we will travel around hopefully and get you the latest content. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the WTC content. I just came back yesterday. It was a long 5 days, but really enjoyed it. It was a great experience watching Test cricket in England. The weather was beautiful. It was nice, bright, shiny. The ground over there was beautiful. The crowd was amazing, and it didn't feel like you're watching a 90 overs game. It felt like like the time flew. मेरे को पता ही नहीं चला भाई कि time कब कहाँ जा रहा है. And it was an incredible experience. But again, if India won, it would have been much, much better. More disappointed Rohit's press conference. Honestly, I was also very disappointed. I mean, saying that it should have been a best of three finals or something, that's ridiculous. I think, finals across different sports, across different formats, they are one match. You knew that from before that you're playing one game. Now to come and say that it should have been best of three, why are we playing in June? That's all rubbish. Those are just excuses. Both teams knew that this is the final. It was nothing new. It was not a surprise कि भाई हो सकता दूसरा 2 या 3 मैच हो सकते हैं. ऐसा नहीं था कुछ भी. एक मैच था, एक फाइनल था. And yeah, like Australia were the better team in that match. It's as simple as that. There's no point making excuses like that. You have to look at your mistakes. And every time India do lose a tournament, they say कि भाई IPL का वो workload management करना पड़ेगा, players को rest करना पड़ेगा. पहले तो आपके players fit नहीं रहते. अगर आप देखो ऑस्ट्रेलिया की टीम और हमारी टीम में, आप बैलेंस की बात करते, बैलेंस है नहीं हमारे पास. अपने पास प्रॉपर कीपर बैट्समैन था ही नहीं, आपके पास फास्ट बॉलिंग ऑलराउंडर था ही नहीं. तो इसलिए आप वो एक दो स्पिनर के conundrum में थे. If someone like Hardik Pandya played or Rishabh Pant played, maybe you didn't even need an extra fast bowler. You could have played both Ashwin and Jadeja, but you didn't have the players available. What is the reason for that overload of cricket? Again, yes, it's very easy to blame the IPL, but it is what it is. Like, you have to set your priorities straight. Ravi Shastri said today in an article that in an interview that if you need to sacrifice tournaments like the IPL if you want to do well um, in world tournaments. And like, he was the coach of India. He couldn't do that. And from the outside, yes, he can say it, and he's exactly right. I completely agree with him. But to implement that, we know it's not going to happen. We know that IPL is priority. We know that there's so much money involved, and the players have to play for the franchises. But then you have to sacrifice world titles. Ab look, Chirag Bhai, he joins us every day. He loves cricket. I'm sure that he's also disappointed. But we have to face the fact that if we're not going to prepare well, we're not going to be we won't be able to challenge, we won't be able to cross the line. आप बाद में बोल दे सकते हैं अश्विन को नहीं खिलाए, बैटिंग ऐसा हुई, वो बॉलिंग हुई, पहले बात आती प्रिपरेशन पे, उसके बाद टीम सिलेक्शन में इतना कंफ्यूजन रहता है, क्यों रहता है? बिकॉज आधे प्लेयर आपके इंजर्ड है, अवेलेबल नहीं रहते, उसके उसके ऊपर ये आपकी प्रॉपर बैलेंस नहीं बन रही, तो बैलेंस जब नहीं बनती है आपको कंफ्यूजन रहता है, इसको खिलाऊं या इसको बिठाऊं. ऑस्ट्रेलिया का देखो सिंपल स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड था, हेजलवुड इंजर्ड था, यू गॉट एन एक्स्ट्रा बॉलर बिकॉज देयर ओवरऑल बैलेंस वाज प्रॉपर. दे हैड अ प्लेयर लाइक कैमरन ग्रीन हु made sure the team was balanced. They have their best off spinner there, and they have their fast bowlers. In Kohli's captaincy, we used to go over aggressive, fall flat on our face, but in Rohit's, I felt like we're not even there. Yeah, I mean, we didn't compete at all. There was no point in that test match, me sitting at the ground. I never thought at one point, ki bhai, we're competing. We were always behind the eight ball. We were always the second team in this match, and we got completely dominated. And you can make all the excuses you want, but nothing can protect the fact that, yeah, you lost the game. There's another final that you've lost from 2013 onwards. That was the Champions Trophy final. You won that. Then 2014, you lost the T20 World Cup. 2016, you lost the T20 World Cup. 2015 semi-final, you lost ODI World Cup. 2017, you lost the Champions Trophy. 2018, you lost not 2019, you lost the World Cup semi-final. 2021, you lost the T20 World Cup, and 2022, you lost the T20 World Cup, and now again WTC final, you've lost. So back to back up matches harder, you're not being able to cross over the line. Again, injuries is a problem, fatigue is a problem, player availability is a big problem, but also the available players. Now we look at more on the game display. Your big match players, they're not coming up to the stepping up to the mark. There's too much pressure on Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli. Whether it's pressure or not, I don't know what it is, but they're not being able to live up to their expectations. As a team, as unit, we didn't look like it. We looked like everyone is safe to scared to save their place and try to score their runs, whereas Australia, it was much more of a team effort. Even the Warner contribution, it contributed in a way that helped the team, right? Like उन्हें जो new ball खेला वो दिन day one पे Labuschagne के साथ, eventually it helped the team win the game. So for us, it didn't look like a team. It looked like a bunch of individual stars who have a big fan following, but when it comes to crunch situation, they weren't able to come together as a unit and defeat Australia. And we weren't even competing. If it went to day 5 and to the last session and we lost by a few runs, I would take that, but this is not acceptable. आपके पास इतना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, इतना पैसा डालते हैं आप लोग, इतना आप बोलते हैं 3 टीम खड़े कर सकते हैं, इंडिया में इतना टैलेंट है, लेकिन फिर आप फाइनल हर्डल में आके हर वक्त आप आके फिर चूक जाते हैं. So it's not acceptable. Ganguly saying IPL is tougher than World Cup. What era are we living in? I saw that interview. Basically the context was he was saying that you have to play 16-17 matches. So I don't think it's tougher than the World Cup or anything like that, but in terms of fatigue, exhaustion, and everything, it's very challenging, and that leads to affects your performances in big games. And every time we see it, when we have a World Cup right after an IPL, we don't perform, and it's been the case for so long. I would still say that World Cup and thing is the toughest. Test championship, playing against Australia is way harder than playing against Chennai Super Kings. That is a fact. So I don't agree with that statement. But the context that he was trying to say is that it's very rigorous format IPL, and over there you have to make your choices. If you want to do well, then you have to do that. If not, then you have to accept the fact. And I think some of the players, maybe deep down inside, they might think ki bhai, this is the fact, we might not win anything, but we still have to play all formats. We have to play IPL, and we still got to continue. Maybe that deep down inside that they've accepted that. I'm with Rohit Sharma. His every statement was true. 3 matches needed, just because in WC you have to work hard for 2 years and get placed in final. Neutral venue, so it's unfair. No, I don't agree with that, Vinesh bhai. Those are just excuses. आपको पहले से पता था कि भाई 2 साल पहले से आपको पता है कि एक फाइनल होने वाला है. अगर आप लोग टॉप 2 में अगर आए, तो आपको एक मैच खेलना है. आप देख लो हर स्पोर्ट में apart from the NBA, I think you have one final, you know it from before, and you what do you call it? You play for that, you plan for that. ऐसा नहीं है कि it was by surprise that they slashed the other two games and they just stuck with one game. ऐसा तो नहीं था, right? You knew from before this is the situation. These are all excuses. What if it was best of three and then India lost 3-0? फिर क्या बोलेगा रोहित शर्मा, right? And the way they were playing, it could have been like that. There's no guarantee that India would have won even if there were three games. Those are just excuses. This is the format. This is, you know, what you're going to do. How are you going to fit best of three in a cycle? IPL को आपको निकालना पड़ता, फिर आप खेल सकते हैं best of three. If Rohit Sharma wants to play Test cricket in March, then there should be no IPL then, right? He was saying March, April में खेलना. Why are we playing in June, July? Because March, April में आपका IPL रहता, कैसा खेलेंगे आप WTC? Simple बात है. These are just excuses. You have to accept the fact that you got beaten. There were a lot of mistakes that you made in preparation. There were a lot of mistakes you made on the field. Shot selection was extremely poor. मैं भाई वहां पे बैठ के देख रहा हूँ, वहां से कनाडा से आके देख रहा हूँ, बॉल छोड़ रहे हैं भाई. पुजारा T10 खेल रहा, वो शॉट खेल रहा, पता नहीं क्या हो रहा था. विराट कोहली साहब ड्राइव करने जा रहे हैं. These are simple errors, like, and whether it's best of 7 or best of 10, it doesn't really matter. You have to take into equation the match situation, what you did, what mistakes you did, and then you move on. I think he should have just accepted, listen, we got totally outplayed, which he did to a certain extent, but making excuses saying that is best of three, best of four, I think that is rubbish. And with Commonwealth Olympics happens in once in 4 years, you don't get three finals. Exactly. Like, and the main thing is you already know it's one final. You know this is the thing, what you're playing for. It's a ready plan. आपको 2 साल से मालूम है कि भाई एक मैच होने वाला है, वो भी इंग्लैंड में होने वाला है, आपको ये भी पता है. And look, it was a beautiful ground, it was beautiful weather. Pitch was amazing, atmosphere was amazing. What more do you want? I think it was a proper final. I don't think you can complain. ऐसा नहीं कि बारिश पड़ रही थी, स्टॉप स्टार्ट मैच हो रहा था, नहीं, 5 दिन लगातार क्रिकेट चल रही थी, वेदर मौसम अच्छा था, and it was hot. It was favoring India more the conditions than Australia. I'll be very honest with you. And if we had a proper team and everything, we would have made them struggle with our spinners, with our fast bowlers. Unfortunately, we didn't. And you can say Bumrah was in there, Pant was in there, but there's a reason for that. Too much cricket, too much thing. You're not managing your workload. आप बोलते हैं कि आप वर्कलोड मैनेजमेंट करेंगे, नहीं करेंगे. आप राहुल द्रविड़, रोहित शर्मा, they took over the reins over रवि शास्त्री and विराट कोहली, क्या बोल रहे थे कि भाई we're going to back players, लंबी रस्सी देंगे. कौन सा लंबी रस्सी? अश्विन को आप ड्रॉप कर दिया फाइनल में, आप इसको ड्रॉप कर दे रहे, उसको खिला रहे. यू नो गोट टू मिक्स फॉर्मेट्स. आप सूर्य कुमार को खिला दिया टेस्ट मैच couple months ago. No, they're not sticking by their word. They're not sticking by their plans. And when it comes to the big equation, they're getting scared. They're chickening out, and they're getting hammered in knockout games. It's simple as that. I just it's hard to digest, but that is the fact. One thing on which I agree with Rohit is venue, which is a disadvantage for some teams, and having England as a venue for future WTC will force India to prepare green wickets at home. But listen, if you're gonna prepare, for example, if it's in India the match, then you're gonna say भाई घर पे है, जीत गए हम लोग. There's gonna be no thing in that. This was India versus Australia and England, neutral game. I'm just taking this game in isolation. Forget what's gonna happen in the future. Forget what happened in the past. Just look at this game. It was in a neutral ground for both teams. Both teams are not playing at home. It was a beautiful wicket. It was a beautiful ground. Everything was perfect. You just didn't perform. It's simple as that. You have to look at yourself. You have to look at the preparation. You think Pat Cummins is going to come and say that no, they shouldn't have kept the game in England? No, because he won. He's the champion. If Rohit Sharma won, he would never say that. You would say the WTC is the best. This was the best thing that's ever happened to Indian cricket. This championship will be up there with all the World Cups. That's what he would have said. The narrative would have changed depending on the result. They lost, so he's upset and he's making excuses. But for me, I'm not agreeing with that, man. No, you are right. Rohit knows it will be one match. You are also right. It's just lame excuse. If he's winning in the side, then I don't think he would have said exactly, and that's what it is, right? If he was winning, उन्हें नहीं बोलता था ये सब. ये हारे तो excuses निकल रहे. आपको पहले से मालूम था, आप बराबर प्रिपेयर नहीं करे. आप बोल रहे हैं कि why is this, why that. मैं अब सवाल मेरा ये है कि भाई आप प्रिपेयर क्यों नहीं करे? आप पूरा IPL क्यों खेले? आपके प्लेयर वहां जाके कैंप क्यों नहीं लगाए? आप 2-3 हफ्ते की प्रिपरेशन क्यों नहीं करे? आप टीम सिलेक्शन बराबर क्यों नहीं करे? आप शॉट सिलेक्शन बराबर क्यों नहीं करे? आप पहले ये देखो, उसके बाद आप बता सकते हैं कि क्या हुआ. फाइनल 1 होना चाहिए, 4 होना चाहिए, 5 होना चाहिए, बांग्लादेश में होना चाहिए, फिर आप बात कर सकते हैं. But Mustafa bhai, it's neutral on paper. In reality, it was helping Australia. But the thing is, it made it seem that it was helping Australia because you like we got screwed, right? They dominated us. It wasn't swinging that much, Chirag bhai. It wasn't like crazy thing. It wasn't crazy bounce, extravagant bounce, or anything like that. In fact, like the Indian players looked very comfortable when they were at the crease. It's just that they made mistakes. They made individual errors, lapses of concentrations, and false shot selection. It's simple as that. अगर आप देखें पिच में क्या था, लाइक आराम से बैटिंग कर सकते थे, कौन सा एक्स्ट्रा मूवमेंट था. इट वाजंट सूटिंग ऑस्ट्रेलिया. ऑस्ट्रेलिया मेड इट सूट देमसेल्व्स बिकॉज़ दे वर बेटर प्रिपेयर्ड एंड दे हैड प्रॉपर प्लान्स. आपके बॉलर्स थके हुए दिख रहे थे. शमी एंड सिराज, ओके, दे extremely good bowlers, but they look tired. They got look knackered in the second innings, because of all the cricket you played and everything like that. You didn't look fresh, you didn't look good enough, and उस हिसाब से it looked like it suited Australia. But अगर मैं देखा, मैं था भाई ग्राउंड पे, मेरे हिसाब से कोई फेवर नहीं कर रहा था ऑस्ट्रेलिया को. That's just my opinion. I'm just telling you what I saw. You guys have a different opinion. You're completely entitled to it. If you think it suited Australia, I mean, so be it. But मैं जो देखा ग्राउंड पे, मेरे को ऐसा नहीं दिखा कि फेवर हुआ. कंडीशंस ऑस्ट्रेलिया को अच्छे कंडीशंस थे, and in a way, like, if we prepared properly and we had the proper team and right team selection, we would have won this game. Like, we should have won this game. And in the end, last day 4-5 को spinner को भी तो help कर रहा था, right? Nathan Lyon was getting wickets, so ऐसा नहीं है कि लेकिन ऑस्ट्रेलिया को सूट हो रहा था. Okay, Musa bhai, let's move now. Tell me, future test captain, anyone. That's a very good question. I really don't know, man, what they're going to do. Shubman Gill is one name that comes to mind, but he's not. He's still very young. Rishabh Pant was someone who came to my mind, but he is not available. Again, वही problem है, availability का issue. Shreyas Iyer नहीं है available. आपके जसप्रीत बुमराह injured है, so it's a very tough question. I don't have the answer to it. I'll be very honest with you. They'll have to groom a test captain and take it from there. It will take a few months, I think. I don't think they can decide right now. They don't have a test captain. अभी तक तो रोहित शर्मा ही है, मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा, unless you give it to Rahane or give it back to Virat Kohli for a bit, which I don't think he will. श्रीलंका या बांग्लादेश रख लो ऐसे तो. Exactly, like, देखो आप जहां पे भी खेलना, आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया. और चिराग भाई, सिंपल बात यह है, रोहित शर्मा को यह भी पता चलना चाहिए, आप जाके ऑस्ट्रेलिया में ऑस्ट्रेलिया को हराए. वो तो उनके कंडीशंस थे. वो तो आप बोल सकते हैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया तो बॉर्न एंड ब्रॉट अप ऑन दोस कंडीशंस. दे नो दोस विकेट्स. आप जाके 2 बार हराए उधर. फिर इंग्लैंड क्या चीज है ब्रो? इंग्लैंड तो फिर आप हरा सकते हैं. वो तो इट टेक्स द एज अवे फ्रॉम ऑस्ट्रेलिया. दे डोंट नो दिस कंडीशंस एज मच एज इंडिया डू. यस, on paper they had better bowlers, everything that is completely fine, but if you're just taking conditions in isolation, you beat them away from home and you feel more happier that win, the Gabba win, will never be forgotten. Why? Because you beat them in Australia. Same thing here. If you won at the Oval, or if the next time it's at Lords, you won at the home of cricket, you won in conditions which are foreign to you, that gives you more credit, right? Like, I would rather win in England as an Indian team rather than in India, the World Test Championship final, or like in the subcontinent, because those are challenging conditions and we've proven we're the best team. Australian team in the past, like even this team, bro, they won everywhere. Look, Dubai में T20 वर्ल्ड कप जीते यार वो चिराग भाई. उनको कौन से कंडीशंस फेवर हुए? वो भी T20 वर्ल्ड कप इंडिया में होना था, दुबई में शिफ्ट हुआ. वो कौन सा फेवर कर रहा था ऑस्ट्रेलिया को? उन लोग आके वहां पे जीते, फिर यहाँ आके वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप इंग्लैंड में जीते. तो ये सब बहाने हैं अपने टीम के तरफ से. जो भी कंडीशन है आपको खड़ा उतरना पड़ता है, एंड यू हैव टू परफॉर्म, मैन. इट्स सिंपल एज दैट. व्हाट इफ इट वाज स्पिनिंग? ऑस्ट्रेलिया हैव अनदर स्पिनर after line. It was tailor made for them, bro. But look, even if you look at that series that we played against them, we won the first 2 games, but then they came back. It was 2-1. You got scared, you made a flat pitch, and we drew the last test match. There was no guarantee that we would have won that series either. So Australia do have options. Even in those conditions, they came and they won a game. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't have suited them. Maybe it would have been a bit more difficult, but I'm sure they would have competed more. They would have still been better prepared. That is the thing. And same thing with India. Like, if I think that we can win in any conditions. So with this kind of team, you have the fast bowling that you have, the batsmen that you have, the caliber of Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Rahane. Why can't they score runs in South Africa, England, Australia? They can. They've shown it in the past. So with this team, you have the ability to win. I'm not defending the Musa bhai or team play bad, and it's a fact, and there should be repercussions, but I have an issue with England as a venue. What if Bangladesh or Sri Lanka makes it? Look, I understand. For me, it's a bit different. I really enjoyed it. I think England was a very good venue. It was a good, it's a great place to play cricket. You get a good crowd in as well, and I felt the pitch has like something in it for everybody, from the fast bowlers, for the batsmen. Look at the Australian team. Batsmen scored runs, fast bowlers picked up wickets, the spinners picked up wickets. Like everyone picked up wickets, right? Even for us, Jadeja picked up wickets, Siraj picked up wickets, Shami picked up wickets. But it's about applying yourself. It's about acclimatizing to the situations. You keep this, even if you kept this in Bangladesh and you played it straight after the IPL, and imagine you're playing Pakistan there. What is the guarantee you're going to win the game? There's no guarantee there, right? That's what I'm saying. This is Rohit's first overseas match as Test captain, and is coming in all important final. This is not right. He shouldn't be captain anymore. He is missing every series in over test. So look, that is also a problem that उन्हें अवेलेबल ही नहीं था पूरा WTC साइकिल में. दिस इज लाइक ही इज कैप्टनिंग आफ्टर अ लॉन्ग टाइम, एंड वो भी फाइनल में. दैट आल्सो वाज नॉट द राइट प्रिपरेशन. यू शुड हैव योर कैप्टन एटलीस्ट फॉर like 1 or 2 years. If you're going into a final like this, then ideally the last year he should have played more test matches, so let the side a bit more. Unfortunately, due to injury and everything, that didn't happen. But then again, it comes down to preparation, it comes down to planning, it comes down to picking, choosing your games, your priorities. And as long as the IPL is there, priorities there, it is going to be difficult. Now look, the World Cup is going to be in India, it's going to be in Indian conditions. If you don't win that, imagine the uh, you know um, the reactions that you're going to get, right? वहां पे अगर आप पाकिस्तान से हार गए, या फॉर एग्जांपल इंग्लैंड से हार गए, फिर देखो अब क्या होने वाला है. अपनी कंडीशंस में हार गए, ये वो प्रेशर बहुत होने वाला है अभी वर्ल्ड कप में, इवन इफ इट्स इन इंडिया. And Chirag bhai, to that point, England, Australia, all these guys are not going to complain. They're going to come to India. They're going to play aggressive cricket. They're going to be prepared for the World Cup, and they will compete. And that's what you have to do as a professional team. Wherever you're playing the World Cup or a big game, you got to be prepared, and you have to give it your all and make sure you're in the competition. Whether you win or not is different thing. But from what I've seen in knockout games, India have got completely outplayed in every single game, and we haven't really competed. We've been dominated and we've lost these big games. It could be a mental aspect issue, it could be a team combination issue, it could just be performance issues. There's a lot of things that it boils down to. But at the end of the day, you haven't lifted an ICC trophy in 10 years. We are not winning it, bro. And right now, that's what it looks like. It looks like we're not going to win it out. But ummid to rahenga, when we get closer to the World Cup, we're all going to talk about combinations, we're going to talk about chances. But I agree with you, it's going to be very difficult. No Bumrah, no Pant. You going into the World Cup, you will have issues in the death overs. I know that for a fact. You're going to have an issue with your batting in a crunch game. If you're chasing 300, that is going to be a problem as well. So I completely agree, it's not going to be easy. Winning is a habit and losing is also a habit, and that's the thing, man. Like, unfortunately, in big match situations, we have just not lived up to the expectations, and it's been very disappointing. And look, you can have reviews, you can talk about it, you can think, but it's about also applying those changes. Owen Morgan came, he changed the face of England cricket. Ben Stokes came, he changed the face of England cricket. Will India be able to do that? Can they make structural changes? That is important. आप दे दो किसी को कप्तानी, रिस्क लेके नया बंदे को दे दो किसी को, और फिर with someone who has a plan, and you follow that, because it's not working like this. Yes, you have talented players, you will be a consistent team, especially in bilaterals. You will be consistent teams. Even in ICC tournaments, you will make semi-finals, finals. But to go the other way, to go all the way, you got to take gambles, you got to be a bit more fearless. Like Saurav Ganguly said in the interview that look, ऐसा डर के खेल रहे, they have to not be should not have fear of losing, because they're losing anyway, right? आप डर डर के खेल रहे, आप हार जा रहे, go and take the gamble. I would rather, like, we go out there, smash it around, and then you lose by a few runs. Okay, fine, no problem. But आप डर डर के खेलेंगे तो फिर आप कभी भी जीतेंगे नहीं. So there has to be big infrastructure changes. But with India, it becomes very difficult. And if you see, because of the competition that we have, so डर डर के अपने अपने runs के लिए खेलते, there's no defined roles in the team. For Australia, we knew Steve Smith is going to consume deliveries. He's going to make sure that he is the main guy there, staged at the end. Travis Head, we knew, was going to play counter-attacking role. Cameron Green was also counter-attacking role, can bowl a bit. We knew David Warner and Khwaja's role is to set a certain platform. Labuschagne is to grind it out with Steve Smith. It was much more clear. Where India, we didn't know exactly what role. What you had, Rohit Sharma was playing shots, Virat Kohli was playing shots, Shubman Gill was not playing shots. Like, there was no defined role with the team. You have to have a proper plan and that's how you're going to help each other and come and win the game. There has to be partnerships, and that partnerships comes when you have communication, when you have defined roles. The communication also looked like it was lacking. even with the bowling wise, you have to have clear plans, you'll have to have backup plans as well, and that was missing in this game. मैं आपको एक्सक्यूज बता देता हूँ, अभी बुमराह didn't get game time, that's why we lost. Shreyas got injured mid tournament, we don't have a good right off spinner all rounder. Yeah, वो तो ये excuses तो आने वाले हैं, and ये आते जा रहे हैं, but the fact is that whatever team that you play, though that team needs to have a defined role, they have to have a proper plan and go into a big match, and then play fearless cricket. And by fearless I don't mean reckless, I just mean that you play with confidence, and don't worry if you make a mistake, it's okay, but back your natural instinct and have an identity, like how you're going to play your cricket. आप T20 वर्ल्ड कप में बोले कि हम लोग एग्रेसिव क्रिकेट खेलने वाले हैं, साउथ अफ्रीका के अगेंस्ट मैच हुआ और उसके बाद जो भी मैचेस हुए एकदम से आप शल में चले गए ना, आपका पावर प्ले में रन आ रहे थे ना पावर प्ले के बाद रन आ रहे थे। वो एक पाकिस्तान गेम में विराट कोहली बेल्ड यू आउट, अदरवाइज उसमें भी आप हारने वाले थे। तो कहाँ से आपका इफ यू सी 2-3 साल से बिग मैचेस में हम लोग नहीं परफॉर्मेंस दे रहे, नहीं, we're not looking as a team, we're relying on individual brilliance, and it all comes to that. And maybe because you're playing so much cricket, and you're playing the IPL, that rhythm is not there, that chemistry is not there, I don't know, that could be a certain thing, but in general you have to have that communication, you have to have a clear cut plan when you're going to big tournaments, and unfortunately it's not the case. I understand there is pressure more on the Indian team than other teams, but you get more support also, right? The amount of support that there was in England, no other team will get that support. It was full of Indian fans, 90% was Indian fans, almost packed crowds almost every day, especially on the weekend. तो जगह ही नहीं था, people sitting on stairs and everything like that, watching 8 hours of play with so much things. So like, yes, you do have pressure, but at the same time you have so much support and love as well, so you have to take that into consideration, right? It can't just be that कि भाई pressure है तो ऐसा खेलना वैसा खेलना। अब ये टाइम पे देखो, केएल राहुल भी नहीं था, सूर्या भी नहीं था, स्केपगोट कोई और बन जाएगा, पुजारा बन जाएगा या कोई भी और बन जाएगा, तो द मैटर ऑफ द फैक्ट इज जो भी खेल रहा है इंडिया के लिए इन द लास्ट 10 years, then whoever it has been has not performed on the big stage, unfortunately, and yeah, it continues to be a problem. And if you see Australia, yeah, proper team and proper championship team, they were outstanding, they were brilliant, and kudos to them, and all eyes on the Ashes now for them. And why are bowlers not coming from our domestic batsmen like Yashasvi or Ruturaj or Samson are there, but no quality bowler? That's a very good point, and maybe that's also to do with the fact that you don't have as many India A tours right now than you did before. Like, we remember Siraj and these guys used to go on India A tours, they used to play domestic cricket, they used to go around the world and play cricket in different conditions, and that's why Siraj is the bowler he is right now. He has played India A in England, in Australia, South Africa, and we don't have that right now. There is infrastructural issues, we're not getting the quality bowlers, domestic bowlers on that level, they're not being exposed. ठीक है, आप IPL में खेल रहे, मगर you have to go to different conditions, you have to have India A tours on a regular basis. Rohit Sharma used to play India A as well before he came into the Indian team in 2005-06. I remember he played a triangular series against Pakistan, and then there was another team there as well. So that stuff is missing right now. आपके पास वो नहीं हो रहे India A के tours, आपके पास क्या बोलते, सो वो एक्सपोजर नहीं हो रहा, एंड वो फोकस नहीं आ रहा लाइक जो पहले होता था। बैट्समैन भी आप देखो अभी, और पुजारा को कौन रिप्लेस करने वाला है, मेरे पास जवाब नहीं है। विराट कोहली को कौन रिप्लेस कर, मेरे पास जवाब नहीं है। ऑलरेडी आपके पास शुभमन गिल है, मगर आप क्या कौन है? विल यशस्वी जायसवाल बी एबल टू प्ले वन डाउन? हु इज गोइंग टू प्ले टू डाउन? हु इज गोइंग टू रिप्लेस रोहित शर्मा? These are questions that we have, unfortunately, and it's not answered. We don't even have, even if we look at the batting, चिराग भाई, ऑप्शंस ही नहीं है उन लोगों के पास। एक दो होंगे, मगर there's no clear cut options that we have in test cricket in particular. We will not see quality all rounder. Also, by this impact play rule will force players to invest in one skill, and that is very unfortunate, man. I agree with that. Because of the impact player rule and stuff, people will be forced to focus on one type of skill, and that's going to diminish the role of an all-rounder. And already, even without the rule, आपके पास all-rounder नहीं थे, अब आप कहाँ से पैदा करेंगे? And that is another big problem with the Indian team. You don't have all-rounders, it causes balance issues. That's why you always have selection problems. हर वक्त आप कौन सा भी टूर ले लो, कौन सा भी टूर्नामेंट ले लो, हर वक्त मैच से पहले और मैच के बाद यही होता कि भाई इन्हें खेल रहा है या उन्हें खेल रहा है, कोई सर्टेनिटी नहीं है, बिकॉज आपके पास वो बैलेंस नहीं आता। वो बैलेंस आएगा अगर आपके पास प्रॉपर ऑलराउंडर्स हैं, तो फिर वो बैलेंस आ सकता। एंड कंडीशंस डिपेंडेंट। अब इंडिया में अगर जब मैचेस होंगे, देन यू हैव लाइक अ मच मोर बैलेंस टीम, बट वैसा थोड़ी चलता, राइट? लाइक यू हैव टू हैव teams for different conditions. Like Australia, when they go to subcontinent, they had a different team. Now when they come to England, they have a different team. Travis Head didn't play in the first couple of games in India. They had different players to attack those conditions. Then and now when he came in, he scored 100. So like you have to have a squad where you have players maybe who have defined different roles, but at the same time we can contribute in different conditions. Unfortunately, we do not have that, and it is sad. What can you do? But yeah, if you guys have any more questions and stuff, let me know. But overall, yeah, those are my thoughts in terms of Indian cricket. Like, how are we going to get into ICC tournaments? You have to have a infrastructure change. You got to change your leadership group. You got to change your mentality. You have to have someone who comes and has a defined plan, how you're going to take Indian cricket forward. And maybe it doesn't have to be a complete overall, because India is still a consistent team in tournaments and big matches, not big matches but big tournaments and bilaterals. But you have to have some sort of either, I think captaincy wise, but even in general, like players wise, they have to come into a zone where they play more fearless. They play a different type of game. The game is changing. You see how England are playing, Australia as well. Like, you talk about baseball, the way Travis had played, that was proper baseball. So they also have defined roles, and that's what India need to get. You have to have more tours for India. You need your players playing different tournaments, also playing in different conditions is very important. To get exposed to different conditions, and you'll be much more improved that way. So there's plenty of changes that need to be made, and in big matches you have to be much more prepared. Also, it's not just mental thing, but also like your balance needs to be there, your skill set needs to be there. आप T20 वर्ल्ड कप में युजवेंद्र चहल को 2 साल से नहीं खिला रहे, 2 वर्ल्ड कप्स में आपका बेस्ट स्पिनर है उन्हें, आप अश्विन को नहीं खिलाए, यहाँ पे आपका बेस्ट स्पिनर था। तो ये तो प्रॉब्लम्स होते जाएंगे जब तक आपके पास प्रॉपर बैलेंस नहीं रहेगा और प्रॉपर टीम नहीं रहेगा, राइट? लाइक you have to have a proper team to win games. And right now it's all on individual brilliance and individual players, but you need Rohit Sharma to score 50, you need Virat Kohli to score 50 in the same game. You have to have partnerships between the two. You have to have partnerships between Pujara and Rahane, Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma. That's how you're going to win. You have to have partnerships with the bowlers as well. So yeah, let's see what happens. But we have plenty of content coming up. The Ashes is starting on Friday in Birmingham, England versus Australia, at the home of the Peaky Blinders. Moeen Ali is back in the team. He is there as a replacement for Jack Leach. His press conference was today, and he mentioned that after Leach got injured, I think Ben Stokes messaged him saying Ashes question mark, and he just replied lol. He wasn't sure about that Leach injury or anything like that. But then he also mentioned that if it was maybe any other captain, he wouldn't have come back. But because it's Ben Stokes, he is back. It's because it's Australia, he is back and he's ready to go. He's going to be their spinner. He's going to look to take wickets. They asked him, Jack Leach's role is to be a bit more economical, hold one end up, but उन्हें तो खुला बोल दिया मोइन अली कि भाई मेरा तो रोल है विकेट्स लेना, मेरे को नहीं आता कंट्रोल करना इकोनॉमी रेट, मैं तो विकेट्स लूंगा, जब मैं विकेट्स लेता हूँ फिर इकोनॉमी खुद से खुद कंट्रोल हो जाएगा. So he's looking to take wickets. And the way Ben Stokes also, I saw his interview with Nasir Hussain a few months back during the IPL only. I think India में interview hota, and the way he's also like, it's crazy how he's just changed the cricket. And he was asked, if it's 300 for 3 on the last day, you're winning 2-1. Do you bat on or do you declare? He said, I declare, I go for the win. And he said, you can hold me to it. So it's crazy. It's going to be very wild this summer. I think you're going to see a lot of drama. England might get all out for 50. They might score 400. Anything can happen. But the way Ben Stokes is going to lead the side, they're going to take a lot of gambles, and that will be very exciting cricket. It's going to be a big, it's going to be very competitive as well, because it won't be easy, especially initially, to tackle the likes of Cummins, Stark, and Boland and stuff. But England will be prepared. They do have their players as well. Bowling wise, also plenty of options. Ben Stokes did mention that he would like ideally someone who can bowl 90 plus along with Jimmy and Broad. So maybe he won't go Jimmy Broad, Ollie Robinson. He probably go Jimmy Broad and maybe a Mark Wood initially, and then take it from there. Robinson can come in as a replacement for Broad or Anderson in between if required. There will be management there as well. Like, England are very clear in terms of their plans, and they're going to be up against a big Australia team, so it won't be that easy for them. But I'm really excited. I think there's going to be a very good contest between bat and ball, between both sides. It should be proper cricket. I want आपको याद है तिलक वर्मा came as an all-rounder, even Venkatesh Iyer इस IPL बॉल ही नहीं डाले दोनों. बिल्कुल सही है, 100%. वेंकटेश अय्यर I want 3 different coach and captain for all 3 formats, or at least white ball and red balls, because managing all 3 is more chance to score all three. I agree. I think there should be one captain for T20s and 50 overs, which is white ball, and one captain for test. So you have split captaincy. That's worked with England. It's worked with Australia as well. Why not? We tried that, something like that, and so that you don't mix formats and you have clear plans and you have a much more clear understanding. Whereas if all three managed by different person, there's a chance that one thing happened, right? Yeah, it could, but the thing is, again, too many cooks could spoil the broth. I would say two different leaderships, and you take it from there. One white ball, one red ball, one, and yeah, I think it's worked for England. It's worked for Australia. Why not? It could work for us as well. But अब ये बातें हैं, अब I don't know करेंगे नहीं करेंगे, और अगर करे भी तो would it work or not. और बैकलैश भी बहुत रहता है इंडिया में, इसलिए उन लोग गैम्बल्स उतने नहीं लेते बड़े मैचेस में. अगर आप देखो, like, they avoid risks and stuff because they're scared what backlash is going to happen. But you have to take that fear of failure out, accept it that we're losing, and the main thing is you have to work on those things. Losing a game is not a problem, bro. It's a sport. We keep winning and losing. That's not a big deal. You can lose all the time also, but it's about learning from your mistakes. What the mistakes that you made in 2021 in the final, you made the same mistakes in 2023. अब ऐसा ना हो कि आप अब फिर से 2019 में जो mistakes थे आप 2023 50 ओवर में भी वही mistakes करो. अगर ऐसा हुआ तो फिर पब्लिक प्रॉब्लम होएगा, फ्रस्ट्रेट होएंगे. वही इश्यूज, लैक ऑफ प्रिपरेशन, वही इशू टीम सिलेक्शन, वही इशू लाइक शॉट सिलेक्शन. आप अगर उस पर इम्प्रूव करेंगे तो फिर परफॉर्मेंसेस भी आएंगे. एंड आई विल बी very real with you. In the last couple of years, the quality of cricket that we played has been very under par. Yes, we've had quality batsmen. There's been, like, Rohit Sharma, that 40 he made, Virat Kohli the 40 he made, Jadeja the 60 he made. Very nice to watch, but in general, we haven't competed properly in games. Even if you see the 2022 World Cup, we were lucky to beat Bangladesh in that match. We're lucky to beat Pakistan in that match. Otherwise, we wouldn't have made it to the semi-finals. We were lucky. So the standard of cricket has dipped from India. Like, we haven't played on that level. We're getting found out by other teams. They have better plans against us. Our weaknesses are getting more exposed. And it is unfortunate, but it's about working on those, changing your dynamics and having... looking to improve in certain areas. But आप वही players खिलाएंगे, आप वही system खिलाएंगे, वही lack of preparation करेंगे तो फिर कुछ होगा नहीं. Then we just have to accept the fact, bro, that we're not going to win a trophy. We have too many all format players. Yeah, that's true. Like, that is also the thing. If you see in England, their test team is way different with their one day team. They'll have a few players like Moeen Ali. Ben Stokes also is not, I don't think, playing one day, but Moeen Ali is there, and maybe Bairstow is all format player. But apart from that, it's completely different. And Harry Brook also. 3-4 player honge, lekin they have players for particular formats, particular balls. White ball का अलग team, red ball का अलग team. तो वैसा होना चाहिए हमारे पास भी. Maybe that's the way to go. But yeah, from the Ashes, also make sure that you do tune in. We will get content out. For that, there's a lot of battles to look forward to. Steve Smith versus Joe Root. You got Pat Cummins versus Jimmy Broad versus Stark. A lot of things to look forward to. A lot of key battles, and it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I can't wait for it. I'm already looking forward to it. Since yesterday, I think that's all I'm looking at right now. Looking forward to doing plenty of research, watching a lot of content, and seeing what the players are saying, what what the former players are saying. And everyone right now, from what I've seen, they're saying it's going to be a close contest, 3-2 either way it could happen. And I think the way England play, it's going to, whether they win or lose, it's going to be fun. ये guarantee मेरे को ये 5 टेस्ट मैच बहुत मजा आने वाला है. कुछ ना कुछ होगा. एक गेम में उन लोग collapse हो जाएंगे, एक गेम में उन लोग फोड़ देंगे, मगर it'll be very entertaining. And that's the thing, the way the Ben Stokes has led this team, he has a particular thing that you have to express yourself, you have to play for the team. And look, a very good example is Joe Root. He could have had maybe like 700-800s in the last year, but he is bought into the fact that he needs to play a different type of style and a different kind of thing, and that has allowed the team to excel. But at the same time, it's kind of cut his runs. If you see, he hasn't got as many runs as maybe he got when he was captain. When he was captain, he was banging 100s, 200s, मगर जब results नहीं आ रहे थे, home पे भी आप हार रहे थे, न्यूजीलैंड से भी हारे, इंडिया से भी हारे. लेकिन अभी the way they're playing, it's about contributions, it's about specific roles. Yes, it's not just slam bang, like Joe Root also does has a proper role. He is still the anchor over there, but it's a different sort of style. It's like with a twist. Even the fast bowlers, Jimmy Anderson, in his interview to the Telegraph, I think he said that it's we talk about baseball and stuff, but even for bowlers, Ben Stokes has plans. Is a more wicket taking. His field placements are more aggressive, and if we leak runs, it's okay. It's about taking wickets. So the thinking has changed also bowling wise, not just batting wise, and they're implementing it. It's not easy. Like we all say that hum log kyun nahi khel sakte aisa. It's not easy to do that. You have to have uh, a certain group of players. You got to have a certain management, and you got to have a lot of guts, because you see now, like how India get criticized, England get heavily criticized as well by their media, by their public. And if they lose the first game against Australia, the first couple of games as well, then there's going to be a lot of backlash. They'll have to face a lot of criticism, but I don't think that phases the captain, the leader, saying ki bhai hum log aisa khelne wale, we're going to enforce a result every single game. We're going to take risks, we're going to take gambles, and the players have bought into it. Zach Crawley को कैसा बैक कर रहा है उन्हें तो परफॉर्मेंस ही नहीं कर रहा दे रहा. He's like the KL Rahul of that team for England, but he's been backed, and there is sometimes he does come and give a contribution, and Ben Stokes is backing him till the end, and this is the difference. Ben Stokes, whatever he's saying, he's doing it. Sometimes that leads to a loss. Like I remember against South Africa, it was a green pitch and they went berserk, but they lost the game against Nokia Rabada, and there was a lot of backlash there. But they came back, they played the same way again, and they won. He said, "Bhai, we're going to continue to play like this, and that's it." Jo bol raha unhe wahi kar raha. And that is also, he's trusting the process more than the result. He's not worried about losing. Even against Australia, I don't think he's going to be worried if he loses a game here and there. It's about a certain style of play that he is trying to implement, and he is more excited about that. Like he wants his players to play in a specific way, and the specific way is actually a flexible way as well. It's not a very stringent process or by SE kill. No, it's about freedom. It's playing your natural game and looking to attack the opposition, but at the same time, you have players who have to take responsibility at certain times, right? It's not just slam bang, like I said. And KS Bharat, we have 30 Ranchi teams, and this is the best we could get. Do you believe this? That's a very good question. It's a very good question. Where are backup wicket keepers? Where are wicket keepers who can bat? I don't know. Where are our backup fast bowlers? You saw Boland play as a replacement. You saw Umesh Yadav play as a replacement. और कितना जमीन आसमान का फर्क था performance में. It's about being present in the game for every second and not let it slip. Yeah, 100%. 100% be present. And we look completely absent for all 5 days. यहाँ पे तो अलग रहेगा because of the Australia are already in the zone. They beat India. They're the world test champions. But for them, this is a very important series, the most important series of the year. They're going to look forward to it. And if they can win this Ashes, this is going to be one of the best years for Pat Cummins as captain. It's going to be one of the best years for Australia as well. Winning the WTC and then beating England in England. Australia haven't won since 2001 in England. So this would be a massive achievement for them. And they have their plans set. They are well prepared as well. England will be well prepared. Look, they're also talking about the Ashes for a long time. They've been planning for the Ashes. The likes of Anderson Broad यही plan कर रहे कि भाई ऑस्ट्रेलिया को कैसा निकालना है, विकेट्स कैसा लेना है, कौन से फील्ड सेट करने. All eyes are on that. So England are also very well prepared. They're not underprepared like India. So that is going to be also a difference, and I think it's going to be a very close contest. Between both the sides, because both sides have really good quality players, and on the day we'll see who scores runs, who doesn't score runs. And I think also toss might go out of the equation. The way England are playing, they look to chase 300 plus, man. I don't think they'll be worried if they have to score 300 plus in the fourth innings. If they're batting first, they look to score as many runs and enforce follow on if they have to. And keep putting the pressure on Australia, and that is what I'm excited about. I'm excited about, like, Ash is always exciting because England Australia rivalry and everything, but I'm excited the style of play. I just really enjoy watching the way England have played, whether it's under Owen Morgan in the white ball format or now under Ben Stokes in the last year. So that style of play, it's risky, right? It doesn't mean that it's not guaranteed win. उसमें आप हार भी जा सकते हैं। आप न्यूजीलैंड में भी देखे, पहला मैच जीते मगर वही बैट्सबॉल के वजह से आप लोग हार गए थे सेकंड मैच। तो ये भी हो सकता है ऑस्ट्रेलिया के अगेंस्ट, बट इट मेक्स इट मोर intriguing, it makes it more interesting as well as a fan or as a cricket consumer, a cricket connoisseur, that listen, anything can happen in this series, anything can happen on this day with the way England play. And it'll be good to see a team looking to take the attack to Australia, giving it back to them. There will be a lot of sledging as well, a lot of banter. I'm 100% sure of that in the crowd, on the pitch, and everything. So I'm really looking forward to it. Like the last Ashes series in England wasn't bad either. 2019 में 2-2. It was a very exciting. Ben Stokes, one of the best games of Test cricket, one of the best innings of Test cricket we saw. But I think this one, I just feel that because the sides are both really balanced, it'll be very hard fought, and anything can happen to the last day of the last Test match. Basball versus Cummins and Cole. Let's see who will win. Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to call right now. Both teams have solid players. Both teams have proper game plans. I'm sure both teams have acclimatized to the conditions also. So it looks like a very 50-50 occasion. Australia will plan to tire England bowlers, and I think England should do the same thing as well, because like I mentioned before, someone like a Stark, he's 33, 34. Boland is 34 years old. Pat Cummins is 30 years old. Nathan Lyon is 33, 34. I think if someone can bat a long innings, someone like a Joe Root, or even if like Bairstow goes hammer and tongs and puts pressure on like Stark, or takes one bowler out of the attack, then it puts more pressure on Australia, right? Like we've seen Australia, as the game gets deeper, sometimes they do get tired, they get a bit fatigued, and that's where England can capitalize. But the same thing, England also have bowlers who can get tired, right? Whether that's a Stuart Broad or Jimmy Anderson. But I just feel conditions wise, this will suit Anderson and Broad much more than if this series was in Australia. And that's why I think it's more 50-50. If this was in Australia, I would still say, even with baseball, it would be Australia favorites, maybe 65-35. But because it's in England, the likes of Anderson Broad will be a different kettle of fish as well to handle for Australia. And yeah, like it depends who the third pacer is. If it's Mark Wood, Vokes, or whoever it is, they'll also have a role to play. Keep putting that pressure on Australia. And again, England also have the batting to attack Australia, right? They do have they bat very deep. It looks like Moeen Ali was saying that he might bat at number 8, and if that is the fact, then yeah, they bat really, really deep. Moeen Ali himself is no mug with the bat. He will look to score heavily, look to score quickly as well, and take the attack to Australia. Only weakness in baseball is that they lack. They are back to what is that? They are back to ball quickly, which might tire their bowlers, and I feel Australia will go hard on that area. Yeah, I mean, like that could be a factor that they bowl. Yeah, उन लोग जल्दी जल्दी खेलते हैं and फिर एकदम से फील्ड पे आ जाना पड़ता है. That is a factor, but it's also something that can win you games, right? आप जल्दी से 400 मार दिए, it increases the chance of a result, it increases the chance of a victory, and it puts the opposition under a lot of pressure when you score quick runs heavily as well. And yeah, it's not easy. Like, we say test match cricket, you have to be sensible, you have to leave the ball. So like it could be where England have to adjust. Like, Joe Root will have to also play a proper test cricket innings at times, because I just feel the way Australia play is just a bit more suited now. If the conditions are flat and if it's good to bat on and it dries up, then it'll suit England. But if it's like seaming and everything, it could well and suit Australia, right? Because they have the bowling to exploit the conditions. Then they have the likes of Labuschagne and Smith, who can grind it out, who can go into the trenches and basically like fight it out all day, right? So that's one thing. Also, how the pitches will be, how the conditions would be, could dictate the result of the game, dictate the result of the series. But really looking forward to it. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll preview that. We have a few shorts coming up today as well. Faz is working on that. That's why he couldn't come on today. But we will discuss the Ashes in more detail. We'll have key battles for you hopefully tomorrow, and we'll have the preview on Thursday. We'll try to get some people on if we can, and look forward to this series. The first match is in Birmingham on Friday, the home of the Peaky Blinders, so I'm looking forward to it. Really excited. We'll look at some stats as well if we can. Look at past records. I can just tell you from now, like looking at the past Ashes series, I was just doing some research. 2005, you can't get better than that. That was incredible. Each match was outstanding. Edgbaston till this day gives me goosebumps. I think it was that Harmison delivery. Then the Old Trafford, the way Ponting saved the test match, that was incredible. Trent Bridge, Shane Warne came in, almost defended 120, 130, but Ashley Giles, I think scored the winning runs in that. And then the oval, the Kevin Peterson famous innings was incredible. Even the first Test match where Australia dominated, Magra picked up a fifer. Yeah, if you're just looking at the past, reminiscing at past Ashes series, I can't get past that. That was, I think, I watched every single game of that Test match. I was very young at that time, but that made me fall in love with cricket, man. Especially Test cricket. Every ball was so exciting. I really enjoyed the 2010-11 Ashes in Australia as well, where England won that. That was a very good series. I enjoyed the one. 2019 one, which was 2-2. Australia should have won that. Ideally, they did retain the Ashes there, but they should have ideally won that. I felt they played really good cricket. Steve Smith had a phenomenal series over there. Ben Stokes had a phenomenal innings, match-winning innings. That was a really good series. So there was really good Test matches, Test series, Ashes series in the past. And I think in England it's much more competitive. It's just because I feel that Australia are a better team and they do better away from home compared to England, whereas England do struggle in Australia. And again, England is also a good team in home conditions, and that just balances things out and makes it exciting cricket to watch. So do join us tomorrow. We'll do much more content as well. We'll try to get more shows in as we get closer to the Ashes and as the Ashes goes on, because that's the main cricket to look forward to. From India's point of view, I think they're playing West Indies in July. Until then, they do have a break. So the main series is this. I think there's a Sri Lanka Afghanistan. Is it Bangladesh Afghanistan or Sri Lanka? I'll just confirm with you. There's a Test match tomorrow. Bangladesh Afghanistan, which starts in Mirpur tomorrow. So we have that, but I think all eyes will be on the Ashes. We'll have some domestic tournaments also starting in the summer, I feel. But right now it's all about the Ashes. So we'll keep getting you content. Make sure you like and subscribe for more of the cricketing updates. Thank you so much, Chirag bhai. Thank you, Vanish bhai, and everybody who joined today. Looking forward to tomorrow and looking forward to the Ashes. Take care, guys, and have a good rest of the night.